Have you ever trusted someone so deeply only to discover their betrayal was brewing right under your nose? Imagine if that someone was your own child. In the quiet Dutch village of Wouwsplanage, a horrific crime unfolded that shook not just a family but an entire community. A father's life ended brutally, and the chilling twist? His 20-year-old daughter, Daisy, wasn't just a witness, she was a mastermind. But how does a family fall apart so completely? And what dark secrets can hide behind innocent screens like Snapchat? Houseville, true crime involving family. Every family has secrets, any family can cross the line. Hi, Matt. Welcome to Houseville, where we explore the darkest stories of family secrets turned tragic. Tonight, we're unraveling a case from the Netherlands that will leave you questioning the boundaries of trust and the power of manipulation. Gradus Heish, a 58-year-old scrap metal dealer, was lured to an isolated area under the guise of a business deal. Hours later, he lay lifeless, his skull fractured and body riddled with stab wounds. Beside him, his devastated daughter, Daisy, whose grief would later prove to be a facade. To understand this tragedy, we must first delve into the family dynamic. Gradus Heish was known as a hard-working man, deeply dedicated to his trade as a scrap metal dealer. Based in the Dutch city Bergen op Zoom, Gradus spent long hours traveling through small towns and rural areas, collecting and selling old iron. His work required a sharp eye for value and negotiation skills, often striking deals through the Dutch online marketplace Marktplaats. To many in his community, Gradus was a symbol of resilience and hard work, a man who took pride in supporting his family despite the challenges of his trade. But behind the walls of his home, a different story unfolded. Gradus's relationship with his 20-year-old daughter Daisy was marked by tension and unease. Daisy, feeling stifled and misunderstood, often described her father as overbearing and controlling. These claims created an emotional distance between the two, a gap that only widened with time. Friends and neighbors described Gradus as a stern but caring parent, yet Daisy's perspective painted him as a figure who cast a shadow over her independence. Adding to this volatile mix was Daisy's relationship with Jeroen, a 21-year-old with a reputation for being impulsive and emotionally unstable. Jeroen's background revealed a pattern of erratic behavior and struggles with responsibility. When the two began dating, it wasn't long before their connection raised concerns. While Daisy found a sense of rebellion and escape in Jeroen, those close to the family viewed their bond as toxic, a dangerous alliance that fueled each other's worst impulses. On the surface, Daisy appeared to be a young woman yearning to break free from the constraints of her life. She spoke often of wanting independence and control over her own future. Yet there were hints of deeper frustrations that went unnoticed by many. Over time, these frustrations began to fester, taking on a life of their own. Gradus, consumed by his demanding job, may not have realized the extent of Daisy's growing resentment or the influence Jeroen wielded over her. As investigators later pieced together the events leading to the crime, they uncovered signs of a mounting storm. Jeroen's instability and Daisy's defiance created a combustible dynamic. The couple frequently spent hours together, whispering plans and sharing secrets that hinted at a shared dissatisfaction with their lives. These private moments became the foundation for a series of choices that would ultimately end in tragedy. Neighbors began noticing changes in Daisy's behavior. She seemed more withdrawn, more secretive, yet intensely focused when in Jeroen's company. Jeroen, too, was seen visiting Daisy's home more frequently, his presence adding to the growing unease felt by those who knew the family. Gradus, unaware of the full extent of their connection, may have seen their relationship as just another rebellious phase, but in truth, it was far more dangerous. As tensions escalated within the household, the lines between frustration and outright hostility blurred. Daisy's anger toward her father deepened, fed by Jeroen's encouragement. Conversations became arguments, and moments of calm grew increasingly rare. This familial strife set the stage for what investigators would later describe as a prelude to one of the most shocking crimes the community had ever witnessed. Friday, March 24, 2023, began like any other day in Wouwsplanage, a small, serene village surrounded by forests and farmland. But by evening, the peace would be shattered. At 1:30 p.m., Jeroen was seen shopping at a clothing store, purchasing new shoes. He then stopped by a supply store to buy bleach and a bucket, a haunting foreshadowing of what was to come. Later, he scouted the area around an abandoned borderage or farmhouse, the chosen site for their plan. Using a newly purchased Nokia phone, and a fake profile named Don, Jeroen contacted Gratis through Marktplaats, a Dutch online marketplace, pretending to be interested in scrap metal. Gratis, ever the businessman, took the bait. By 9:26 p.m., Daisy and her father arrived at the secluded location. Unbeknownst to Gratis, Jeroen was lying in wait, armed with a knife and a blunt object. 4 minutes later, Jeroen approached. Witnesses nearby reported hearing raised voices and seeing shadowy figures. Gratis was attacked, his skull fractured by a heavy blow, likely from a hammer or crowbar. Stab wounds to his chest pierced his aorta, ensuring his death. While Gratis bled out on the cold ground, Daisy initially claimed she had stayed in the car, too terrified to intervene. But her story changed multiple times, raising suspicions. A witness later reported seeing both Daisy and Jeroen at the scene. Though their behavior seemed erratic, the witness described a tense interaction, with Jeroen appearing agitated and Daisy staying close to the car. This sighting added another layer of complexity to the investigation, directly placing both suspects at the crime scene during the critical moments. Jeroen, panicked by the chaos, discarded the murder weapon and the Nokia phone, then rushed home to erase incriminating Snapchat messages. However, a witness had already noted his license plate, leading police directly to him. His attempts to cover his tracks were futile, as forensic evidence and digital trails unraveled the truth. The turning point came during forensic investigations. Blood evidence suggested a violent struggle. While Daisy claimed innocence, investigators found inconsistencies in her account. She stated she stayed in the car but later claimed to have stepped out to introduce herself to Dan. Dark clothing may have obscured blood spatter, but suspicions lingered about her involvement. The Snapchat messages became the crux of the case. Among them was an exchange where Daisy lamented not carrying out the murder herself. She called Jeroen stupid and gullible, a chilling insight into her manipulative mindset. Despite their attempts to shift blame onto each other, the digital trail left no doubt this was a calculated crime. The witness's statement about seeing Daisy outside the car further dismantled her narrative. Combined with the physical evidence, the case against both her and Jeroen grew stronger. Investigators determined that while Jeroen may have delivered the fatal blows, Daisy's involvement in planning and orchestrating the attack was undeniable. As the Dutch media reported on the case, public shock turned to outrage. How could a daughter conspire to kill her own father? Gratis Hayes, known for his devotion to family and hard work, became the victim of an unimaginable betrayal. The trial began in early 2025, and the spotlight first turned to Jeroen. His testimony accused Daisy of orchestrating the entire plan, claiming he had arrived to find Gratis already dead. However, the evidence in Jeroen's inconsistencies painted a very different picture. Daisy, described as manipulative, countered by portraying Jeroen as an unstable aggressor. This back and forth in court only deepened the complexity of the case, fueling media speculation. But this wasn't just a legal battle, it was the unraveling of a deeply personal and shocking story. Trust, betrayal, and manipulation became central themes, leaving Gratis's family and friends grappling with heartbreak and disbelief. How could a father's love and sacrifice lead to such treachery? This question echoed across the country, sparking heated debates on social media and in public forums about morality, manipulation, and familial bonds. Forensic evidence provided critical insights. The blunt force trauma that fractured Gratis's skull was consistent with a heavy object like a crowbar, wielded with significant strength. This led investigators to conclude that Jeroen, at 1.90 meters tall, was likely responsible for the fatal blows. Meanwhile, Daisy's smaller stature suggested a different but no less damning role, one of planning and orchestration. Her claims of innocence were further scrutinized when inconsistencies emerged. Initially, she said she remained in the car during the attack, but forensic analysis raised doubts, especially when suspicions arose that her dark clothing may have concealed blood evidence. Even the possibility of her clothes being washed before submission to police added another layer of suspicion. The case hinged on both physical evidence and critical witness testimony. One witness placed both Daisy and Jeroen at the scene, describing their behavior as erratic and unsettling. They detailed seeing Daisy step out of the car shortly before the attack, a direct contradiction to her initial claims. Furthermore, the witness recounted seeing Jeroen approach Gratis with what appeared to be the murder weapon. These testimonies, combined with the chilling Snapchat messages exchanged between Daisy and Jeroen, painted a damning picture of premeditated violence. The trial's timing added another layer of complexity. Jeroen's proceedings in January 2025 meant his testimony would come to light first, potentially giving Daisy, whose trial was delayed until May 2025, time to adjust her narrative. This gap fueled public concern that justice might be further obscured by strategic manipulation. As the courtroom drama unfolds, the weight of this betrayal continues to reverberate, not just for those involved, but for an entire community still searching for answers. The case of Gladys Heish isn't just a story of murder, it's a haunting reminder of the darkness that can hide within family bonds. In the serene Dutch countryside, where life moves at a slower pace, the unthinkable became reality. This tragedy has not only devastated a family, but also deeply unsettled the community, who now question how such betrayal could arise from within. As the legal proceedings continue, troubling questions linger about how the timing of the trials might shape the outcome. Jeroen's trial, scheduled for January 2025, will reveal his testimony first, potentially giving Daisy, whose trial isn't until May 2025, ample time to tailor her story to counter his claims. This delay complicates the pursuit of justice as the opportunity for narrative manipulation looms large. Was Daisy driven to desperation by family tensions, or was her plot against her father calculated from the start? The weight of her actions, alongside Jeroen's, ensures that this case will remain a stark reminder of how trust can be twisted into betrayal. Either way, the scars left on those involved will never fade, haunting the family and the broader community for years to come. The evidence, from the chilling Snapchat exchanges that detailed their plans to the witness testimonies placing Daisy and Jeroen at the crime scene, paints a grim picture of betrayal and violence. Forensic findings further confirm the brutality of the crime, with Gladys's fractured skull and fatal stab wounds providing irrefutable proof of the premeditated attack. Witness accounts describe Daisy stepping out of the car before the murder and Jeroen's agitated demeanor as he approached Gladys with what appeared to be the murder weapon. These details solidify the roles each played in the gruesome act. Gladys's death is more than just a personal tragedy, it's a cautionary tale underscoring the devastating consequences of manipulation, mistrust, and unchecked emotions. The methodical planning evidenced by the chilling 1,300 Snapchat messages and calculated use of a fake identity to lure Gladys demonstrates a level of cold calculation that defies belief. For the community in the Dutch village we use Plantage, this case is a painful reminder that even the most serene settings can harbor unimaginable darkness. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to subscribe to Houseville for more stories that reveal the dark truths behind family bonds. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think justice will be served? And I'll see you in the next one.